Hey gamers, I'm here with another Halo video, and today what I wanted to talk about was Halo Reach for the PC, specifically the most recent flight, because I did have the honor of playing the Halo Reach multiplayer Flight 3, I believe, whatever the most recent one is, and I have more negative opinions about it than I do positive. Um, uh, right off the bat, unrelated to Halo, or maybe it is related to Halo Reach, but I am sick, so I may sound a little boogery. I got some boogers in my nose. Got some bears in the cave, and it might change the way my voice sounds. I don't know if this is because it's like 10 degrees in Illinois, or because maybe I got sick from playing Halo Reach because of how absolutely infuriating it is. But I am sick. Um, Back to the subject at hand, Halo Reach. I have several things that I have opinions about for this, and I'm gonna get the good stuff out of the way really quick. Good things about it. I am a Halo fan. I have been a Halo fan my whole life. And Halo is returning to the PC for a whole new generation to enjoy. And that is very much a good thing. I love Halo and I want more people to play it. And I believe Halo should run perfectly smoothly and control perfectly on the PC. But it just doesn't. It doesn't control perfectly, and I'll get to that when I get to the bad things. Um, More good stuff with the game. I haven't personally got to test this part out, but apparently there's new Forge items. In this clip here, there's a lot of new Forge items, and it looks really cool. And one of the things I love most about Halo, besides like the sandbox and everything, is Forge. And I love making maps. I think it's really fun. And I'm really looking forward to making some on PC and not just looking back at Forge maps from 10 years ago, making maps that potentially I could get together with some people from the Energy Sword Sunday Twitter, contact some of those people and maybe have a match. That sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So even if what is in the bad sections of this video don't get fixed, I'm still buying this game because I believe it's been confirmed that each game from the MCC on PC when they're released is going to be like $10 each, and ODST is going to be $5 for the campaign experience. So, and I already have Xbox Live because Game Pass is great, and I love using Game Pass. Just got to play Outer Worlds for free. Don't really have an opinion on that game yet, but it seems fun so far. And I don't know. Just the good things about it is it's still purely Halo. A lot of the things I have issues with are new things and new issues that come with it being on the PC, and things that come with 343 messing with things. But it's still Halo at its core, which means the physics are really fun. There's still crazy, actiony, fun things that are going to happen. And aside from the absolute utter frustration of trying to aim in this game, it's still a ton of fun. But now that we're done with the good things, the three good things that are there, I would like to cover the incredibly bad things, the extremely frustrating things, which are the controls. Mainly the aiming. There's a few other things, but the aiming is way off on the PC when you use mouse and keyboard. And apparently, according to people on Twitter, it's not affected for the controller. I guess if you use the controller on the PC version, you somehow still get aim assist and like sticky aim and stuff like that. I don't know how that works. I guess it just detects your input device and it adds those things on. But when you're using a mouse in this game, it doesn't feel like it's raw input. It feels like the interpolation of the target for where you're trying to aim is being smoothed, or the aiming just feels very floaty. the first person interface and the reticle and stuff don't scale properly with the new FOVs that you can switch around, and it just doesn't work very well. And it feels like there's also an input delay, and I believe there's a video out there somewhere where someone actually recorded a very noticeable input delay on like an iPhone or something. They put like a very low frame rate slow motion capture of the video, and they like touched the mouse and didn't move until like half a second after. Half a second's probably an exaggeration, but it's very noticeable in game, and it makes it very difficult to aim. Another bad thing about the controls is there seems to be an issue with crouching. 343, I believe, said they're already going to fix this, but if you're trying to crouch while putting in any other movement input, like if you're walking, it pretty much won't work unless you stop using the inputs. If you stop touching WASD, then you can crouch. So it makes crouch jumping difficult. It makes just crouching and moving difficult, and it's no fun. And those are probably complaints that you've already heard before. People complain about the aiming in this recent flight very often. But what I haven't heard anybody complain about so far is the weapon placement and the map design. And I understand that Tempest is from some weird Reach DLC pack. I never played any of those when I had it in high school. And even with that, it's kind of really bad, and I don't know why this was the map they chose for the PC flight, because it's really awful just compared to any other map they could have chosen. Not so much in the actual design of the map visually, but the weapon placement and the spawning of enemies is just putrid in this game. Like, there are so many power weapons on these maps. I think the one that I'm thinking of right now is called Tempest. It's got like 4 lifts, but there's a lift that shoots you generally to the middle, and it's kind of like a beachfront kind of level. And in all my time playing on that map, I played about a dozen matches, and I was the only person who ever picked up the shotgun on that match. Not because it's not good for that map. I mean, it isn't good for that map because it's a really kind of no close quarters kind of map, except for in these rocky areas. But I think that the only reason I picked up the shotgun is because I'm the only one who knew it existed. It's just in such a terrible spawning position. It's so hard to see, and it's seemingly random where it's placed. You would think that it would be placed somewhere easier to see, like something with a higher contrast in the color of the weapon to the object it's laying on, or it's in a high traffic area, but it's just in this weird in between 2 exits of some caves by spawn, and it's leaning against a random rock that's has some color accents, really dark color accents on it that make it blend into it. And I've never once seen anyone pick up that weapon because it's a terrible weapon placement. Nobody knows it's there. And that would be okay for some maps. Like, if the weapon placement was a little bit better, but it was still bad, people would find the weapon and they just memorize where it is. And that would make it easier for people to kind of know where the weapon is and go for it. But it's so bad that some people will probably just end up picking it up from an enemy that drops it, or they'll just think, I remember picking it up by a gray rock on this map that's completely made out of gray rocks, so how are you supposed to know where the weapon is? And another really bad thing with weapon placement is they're just like too many power weapons on the maps, and they're so close together. When it comes to Tempest, which I'm not sure if they think it's supposed to be a big team battle map, but it's kind of not. Each team runs up to the rocket launcher, which is before like a lift on their side of the map, and then they go up that man cannon. That man cannon shoots them over to a sniper rifle, and then that sniper rifle, from there you could walk for a few seconds and reach the enemy's shotgun. And it's just like, in a matter of less than 10 seconds, you have access to 3 power weapons that are all just wildly on different like ranges of like impact for like control and what those power weapons do. A rocket launcher, which is like a crowd controlling instant kill kind of skill, you have to lead your shots or potentially almost blow yourself up in close range kind of thing. And then you get a sniper rifle, which is very much long range and debatably not good for close range, even though it is if you know how to use it. And a shotgun, which is really good for close range and not good for any of those other ranges, especially in the PC flight. It's actually really bad at detection. But all those weapons are so close together, and it's really strange, and I don't think it's a good idea for it to be that easy to reach those weapons. I think there's so many branching paths that it would make more sense to probably place a shotgun near the middle or something like that. A lot of what goes on with these maps in the new versions, or the new maps made by 343, is that there are 2 of each power weapon. Each side gets a rocket launcher, each side gets a sniper rifle, each side gets a shotgun. And it's kind of weird. It's just like power weapons are things that you're supposed to fight over, and you want to control those areas to have access to those power weapons. Just think of the pit, where the rocket launcher's in that 3rd lane, the farthest lane from spawn. Well, you can kind of spawn in the area, but you know what I'm talking about. It's over there. It's either there's the sword in that kind of middle bunker area, the camo that's all the way in the middle, or the rocket launcher's all the way on the end. And it's just, you go for either of those. It's not like you spawn, you're next to a shotgun. Well, in the pit, you are next to a shotgun for some reason, because the shotgun placement on there is kind of bad too. But not really, because you don't really spawn directly inside of it. You have to run up the stairs and go towards it. But that kind of builds an interesting dynamic where both team members or opposing teams will have the shotgun and kind of go towards that rocket area. And that doesn't necessarily give them an advantage to get the rockets, because there's a lot of long range and grenade spamming that goes on in that kind of corridor. But it's just too many weapons on the maps, and they're in really weird and awkward places. If you look at, I'm not sure what the map is called, but there's this kind of icy level where it goes down on a bridge. It kind of slightly resembles that one map in the campaign of Halo Reach, where you have to activate these turrets to shoot and defend, I believe, Halsey or someone. And it's just, that map kind of looks interesting, and it's got some nice little passageways, and that map is definitely for big team battle, but that doesn't mean it can't have good weapon placement. And from what I've seen in that map, there is a rocket launcher, well, there's a Spartan laser and there's a rocket launcher very close to each other. In a matter of 2-second distance, you could pick up the Spartan laser and then instantly walk over the rocket launcher and pick it up. Now, does that necessarily put you in an advantage, having a rocket launcher and a Spartan laser? Kind of. It's a short to medium weapon, range weapon, and a Spartan laser is a very long range weapon. But that's not really the issue. The issue is just, why are those weapons so close to each other? It doesn't create interesting gameplay when one teammate just hoards the power weapons by going in this one direction and grabbing them. If you grab it in order from rocket launcher to Spartan laser, if you're the first person over there, you're guaranteed to be the one who gets that stuff. And that could be very easily avoided if there's just a blank open area by kind of where the vehicles spawn. And if you just go the separate path that leads around into the tunnel of that area, you could put one of the power weapons there. It doesn't make sense to have 2 of the power weapons less than 3 seconds away from each other. It's just stupid. And I feel like as map designers, the people who put together these maps for the flight, or if they are from some weird DLC that I'm unaware from Halo Reach, they did a really bad job with these maps when it comes down to the weapon placement. There was a time on that kind of forest map when I was walking by, and I just spawned, the match had just started, and a DMR that was placed against a tree just fell over. It was just falling on the ground and laying right there. And that's just lazy. This map also has really bad spawns. There's a sniper rifle just laying on the ground somewhere instead of leaning against a tree or something like that, and it's very difficult to tell where it is unless you play that map many times. You're not going to be able to know where it is because everything looks the same on that map. And not far from it, like a few seconds to the right, if you're from the spawn, there's a shotgun, and the shotgun's just laying in the grass. It's very difficult to see, and if you get the shotgun, you walk a few steps over to the kind of middle area where the two teams would clash on that side of the map. There's a rocket launcher, and across from that, on the other side of the map, there's another rocket launcher, and in between those two rocket launchers is a Spartan laser. I believe there's so 2 shotguns, 2 snipers, 2 rocket launchers, and a Spartan laser. What is that, like 7 power weapons on one map? What is the point? Why are there 7 power weapons on this map? It's just ridiculous. It's not fun. Suddenly a power weapon is just something. It's just a regular weapon that you end up coming across and picking up. It's not interesting. To pick up a rocket launcher is just 4 free kills, but it's not like some area that's highly contested anymore. It's just like, oh, there's the rocket launcher, nobody's getting it because it spawns so often and there's so many of them. It's stupid, and it's very badly designed. I'm done ranting about the weapon placement. I just think it's a really... Actually, one more thing. This doesn't have to do with 343. I'm talking about Bungie this time. Powerhouse, I believe it's called. Terrible shotgun placement. It's just next to some random gray wall on the side of the map. Part of the map that's completely useless besides spawning. And it's just, why is it there? It's just really lazy, the weapon placement in Halo Reach, and I don't like it. Bungie's use of it is a lot more acceptable. Not particularly that shotgun, but on that map, rocket launchers are an easily identifiable area. The hammer's in a good area. The focus rifle is very noticeable. It's purple. It's on that gray little slab of concrete. I'm assuming you know these maps. The grenade launcher's in the showers. And just hearing me say that sentence is recognizable. The grenade launcher's in the showers. You're not going to forget that. The grenade launcher's right there. But you can say shotgun is on the grassy knoll. And it's like the entire map is made out of grassy hills and knolls. So how are you supposed to know where it is? The only thing you can remember is rocket launchers in those little dumb bunkers and Spartan lasers in the middle of the map. Those maps, by the way, the forest ones, are just like heaven for DMR users and hell for anybody trying to use the mouse, because they have that aim assist and they can just snipe you constantly and get those perfect headshots, and it's very difficult to sniper with the mouse and keyboard. And I'm not bad at using the mouse and keyboard. I get crazy wacky good Call of Duty kills, and arguably that takes a lot more skill to aim in that game. And I just don't see why the input is so bad for this flight. Hopefully it's better for the next one if they plan on doing a next one, or it's better for the release version. Another thing that has to do with kind of the less visual elements to the maps is not the weapon placement, but the spawning placement for the characters, for the players, and how the game handles spawning. I've noticed several times I will just spawn directly in front of an enemy, or the entire team will randomly just spawn next to me and just insta-kill me. They'll just melt me. And that's not fun. Like, obviously there should be some code in place with not just line of sight, but just proximity and kind of a faux line of sight. If this character was turned around, could they see you right there? Can any other character see you while you're spawning? You shouldn't just be playing and then an entire team spawns in and kills you. It's not fun. And that it's excusable if the team is being weird and there's like one teammate in every single corner of the map, obviously the other team has to spawn somewhere, so it makes sense. But it just seemed to happen more than was likely to excuse it for that reason. So spawns are bad as well. Very, very important part of the game is communication. And for some reason for the flight, they decided not to have the default as push to talk, but mics are always on. And it is absolutely the worst. Just listen to it right here.
This song reminds me of something. Bam, 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 now.
Chinga, toi et moi, OS3. Ça te tente?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, shut up.
This ain't COD, bitch.
Dude, it's so fun. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Hey!
Dude, your microphone.
I'm playing Halo!
Just constantly listening to people talking or playing music, and you can't mute them until you get into the game. Then you press tab, and when you're hovering over them, you press the X key, and it mutes them. And the only other way to mute them is if you just completely mute all microphones. And that's not something you want to do if you're talking to your friends in there. If you want to talk occasionally to other teammates on your team, and communicate with them and tell them where, use your callouts, tell them where the enemies are, which weapons are respawning, stuff like that. And you can't do that if you have to mute every single microphone because some guy's listening to music with his mic always on. Just turn push to talk on by default. It's very simple. It makes perfect sense. I guess it was just an oversight, but if it's in the next flight, then I don't know what they're thinking. Visibility is an issue. The reticle for the DMR is too big for these very high resolution monitors and these very high FOVs. You can't tell what you're aiming at when somebody's kind of far away, and the bloom itself is too high, and the inaccuracy of the first DMR shot is way too high. If I perfectly aim my mouse onto someone's head from far away, it shouldn't matter if I'm scoped in or not. If it's a perfect aim, it should shoot perfectly straight like a laser, and I should be able to hit them. And then the bloom should take care of me trying to compensate for that, not a randomness of the first shot. It's just silly. The weapons take up like 40% of the screen. It's nauseating. I have a brother I know that can't play like Call of Duty games because the scope on the sniper rifle will take up half of the screen. The same thing's happening right here, and it's just, it destroys your eyes. It's just the worst. I know you can do something like, what is it called? Reskin or whatever it's called, where you can kind of mess with the visuals of the game, and I think you could change the placement of the weapon, but I think that would probably trigger the anti-cheat for multiplayer. I'm not sure, but that's not a real solution. That's me or another player going out of their way to find a solution, a third-party solution. I think changing the weapon placement on the screen is pretty essential, or just automatically changing that depending on the FOV, because it's very difficult to see what's going on otherwise. And I really do like Halo. It seems like I complain about it a lot, but there's a lot to complain about. And under all this garbage is a really great game that I love. I do like Halo Reach a lot. It's not my favorite Halo. There's a lot of issues with it, but I still really like this game. I have probably hundreds and hundreds of hours on my Xbox from when I was in high school playing this game. I would stay up until like 6 a.m. playing this game, sleep for 1 hour, and wake up for school at 8. I like this game, but it's too frustrating to play on the PC right now, and it's not fun. And just a quick thing about the Tempest and that one forest level. They're not interesting. They're really boring. They're ugly. On Tempest, for some reason, the bases look like the bases on that Halo 3 Avalanche map, but even more resemble that one Halo CE map where it kind of makes that U formation, which I think the Halo 3 map was based off of. But the map itself doesn't resemble that, so they kind of just took the design of the base lazily and repurposed it for that for some reason. And it's just a boring map. It's just a bunch of forest, and that's it. And there's just elements of the map that seem haphazardly placed, like a weird, ugly tree chunk in the middle of the map that they put the Spartan laser on. They're just ugly maps, and the weird rock formations in them, they make people want to head glitch and just barely have a pixel of their head sticking out and just snipe with a DMR the entire match, and it's not fun. Hopefully the game ends up being more fun when it comes out. Hopefully they fix the input issues, and I don't know. I'm still looking forward to playing the game, but I'm probably just going to stick to Forge and a few small custom matches with friends and people on Twitter. So, I don't know. If you agreed with what I said and you somehow watched this entire video, thank you. I'll be making more videos in the future, probably less ranty videos. I'll still rant in the future though, but I'll be making some more Halo Forge videos talking about my old maps. And if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you in the future. See you guys. Bye.